Hello and welcome back to Our Life Beginnings and Always. This is part 3 of an adventure we're going on with Derek to go wish our sister Happy Father's Day because she's obviously upset. So we're taking a bus all the way to Sunset Bird. When your feet landed on the cracked ground, you exhaled in satisfaction. You made it. Look at this train station, man. This has got an ATM. Look at the detail they put into this train station. They've got the vending machines here. I have been to a train station, or a bus, this is a bus station, what am I saying, train station? It's a metro station, it's a metro transport station. I've been to one of these like once, but it was never this fancy. I've been to, that's not true, I've been to some in New York City too. We have metro transport around here that has buses and trains, and I've been to the train stations, and they're a lot like this, but they're not quite this fancy. This is like big cities, this is San Diego stuff, man. I'd love to spend time on this, but man, this is a long moment, and we want to get through it. I love the sandwich board too, man. Look at the sandwiches. This is probably going to be my thumbnail, though, man. Look at that. Rainbow. Anyway, this is really good. On Derek's first step into the station, he pulled out one of the brochures out of his pocket and flipped it open. He must have kept that single pamphlet with the necessary details and packing the rest of the collection away. Derek was prepared as always. He held it up to his face, mapping out the station and using the guide like a treasure hunter. He wandered around with the wide open floor plan, searching up and down for the section where shuttles would load passengers. You were the first to spot the one vehicle headed toward a tiny tourist town. It made you stop in place. Derek. Yeah? With the sound of his name, he lifted his face above the station map and saw what you saw. Oh. The shuttle was barely 1/4 the size of the bus. It was a glorified van. You only recognized it for what it was thanks to the unusual pale orange paint job and also the words shuttle painted in blue across the doors. I've rode in shuttle vans before too. He tucked the bus schedule pamphlet in his back pocket and gave you a thumbs up. Like I've been in a hotel shuttle that was basically just some guy driving me to the hotel in his van, in a minivan, and that was weird. Derek bought tickets at a nearby customer service counter. There was no humoring the possibility of you buying your own ticket or paying for both. That wasn't a hill to die on today. Die upon your heel. I live apart from love and goodwill. Then you are ready for another ride. You poked your head inside the cabin. Ah, the classic Our Life Sky, the most famous background of all. You poked your head inside the cabin. Only a handful of other travelers were nestled in between the 4 rows of seats. From the seat cushions and the smell, the shuttle was immensely more agreeable than the bus. You were even able to get spots side by side this time. Yeah, because they probably keep those things like super clean and vacuum them out and stuff, right? Derek, though, wasn't in any more of a mood to talk. The physical atmosphere might have improved, but the discomfort he felt on the inside was still eating him. You could only sit in silence. From all the gnawing tension, you did make it. The shuttle inevitably came to its stop in Sunset Bird parking lot. The car was switched off, and the driver gave permission for guests to leave. I bet we're going to be in the parking lot. Yep, we're in the parking lot. Oh, man, it's the parking lot. I love this parking lot, mans. So, yeah, we're going to see our sister because she might be sad about Father's Day. She is sad about Father's Day, actually. That's pretty apparent. It becomes pretty obvious. Things I forgot to do. Things I need to do, sorry. While the other riders leisurely shuffled around bags set by their feet and readjusted their hats, you and Derek hopped right off into freedom. Derek took a couple of stumbling steps after his leap from the car, and then he stood in place. He watched for your next move, counting on your guidance to finish the journey. We gotta know where we are in Sunset Bird. We gotta recognize where the shuttle drops us off at before we can even, like, go there. It was time to switch roles. Sunset Bird was your turf, not his. You spun in a big circle, scanning the area for clues as to which of the multiple big, flat, mostly empty parking lots you landed in. Oh, come on, Marina! There's only one big, flat, mostly empty parking lot in all of Sunset Bird, and you know it. When you swung around back, you got a glimpse behind the shuttle and spotted the corner of the grocery store. You couldn't have been closer to home. We're almost there. This way. You waved your hand over your shoulder and towards the main street to rally your single troop for a charge.
Nice!
Awesome. He made a break for it and launched across the blacktop. You ran with him. There was no time to lose. Derek was so fixated he might accidentally leave you in the dust if you don't push yourself. Yep, we need the grocery store, Street. This is where we're going. This moment probably has the most the most background changes of any single one of these moments. I would bet. If you know, or if you have any idea which ones might also compete with this, please let's talk about it in the comments. Let's just talk about it because it's probably Sarah watching this, and you probably like one of the only people that watches these, and like you know all the background changes in this, you know all the moments. I really feel it. I really feel like this has the most different, unique, individual background changes of any of these moments. The one where Kyra takes you on all the adventures in the car probably also is one of them. That would be a competitor. And I can think of at least one Baxter moment. Baxter is a character in Step 3 who has a DLC. I can think of at least one Baxter moment that might have a bunch too. Like, yeah, but we're probably not going to play those because I don't like Baxter. You flew out of the parking lot and dashed down the sidewalk you'd seen a million times before. From there it was a turn to the residential area. Before you knew it, you'd arrived... See, they had that background for one line. Before you knew it, you'd arrived at the top of the hill on your street. You were so close. The decline of the road propelled your steps even faster. Derek almost crashed into you when you both drove toward the entryway of your house. You caught by yourself by bracing your hands against the front door. So what's interesting about this, to me, is that I recorded the last part last night. And this is the next morning. And I'm recording the next morning of this game. And it feels like it's been a whole adventure. Like, it feels like a long time ago that we were here, leaving on this trip with Derek, this sleepover with Derek, and now we're back at our house. We've come back all the way. It's so interesting to do it that way. It's kind of cool, actually. It took you a second for you to separate your stringing palms from the wood so you could get your key out. But you got it in the lock, turned the key, and pulled. Finally, huffing and puffing, you stumbled inside. You were home. After everything, you almost didn't know what to expect when you laid your eyes on the scene. But it was your living room, exactly as it was every day of your life. Not a thing was out of place. The low hum of the fridge was the only sound. Elizabeth clearly hadn't torn the house apart like an emotional rampage, and although you didn't know what her own room looked like. Marina? You snapped your head to the sound, and there she was, standing on the first step of the stairs. Elizabeth. Her mouth remained open despite not saying anything else. An eyebrow was arched high on her forehead. Hi? Hi? Wait, is that why you were calling? To tell me you were coming back way early? No. You explained everything directly. You joked about the whole debacle. You awkwardly admitted what was going on. You casually broke down about the situation. Just casually broke down about the situation. You caught your breath, settled down, and simply let her know your thought process. Wait, is it casually broke down or casually broke... Oh, no, it's not casually broke down about the situation. It's casually broke down. She would explain everything directly then, because Marina's like that. There was no point in beating around the bush, not after how much you went through to do what you did. Me and Derek wanted to see if you were okay because you were alone here on Father's Day. She let out a single derisive bark of laughter, and Morth was threatening to spill out. It wasn't the worst reaction you could have gotten, all things considered. This is like one of the only times you ever see this version of Elizabeth smile. Just saying. How'd that even come up? The tip of Derek's foot scuffled the wooden floor. Ma was kept sparkling clean. He immediately confessed as part of the debacle. Okay, I wouldn't have expected the Ma to be the clean one. Maybe they both are. I always think that the moms have different, like, personalities as far as, like, how they want to run the household, but they probably like the same things, and that's probably why they get along so well. But I always kind of feel like the Ma is the more comforting, nurturing, fun one who likes to do fun things, and the mom would be the one who runs the household and do all the, like, the... I mean, they probably both do chores and keep and work on stuff. But, like, Mom seems more like the parenting sort, and Ma seems like the affectionate, like, you know, nurture the kids sort. But I think they both are both things. I think they are both all things. I think both moms are kind of all-encompassing. They still have different personalities. Pam is obviously a little more sharp and serious, and Nolani is a little more fun-loving and like, sensitive. But I think they're both all things. I think that's why this family works so well. Anyway, we're getting off topic again. He meekly confessed his part in the debacle.
Well,
I wanted Marina to spend the night at my place so I could make sure she wasn't sad or something. That was what I was hoping for anyway, but it wasn't a great plan. He couldn't help offering an apologetic glance to you. The mocking humor that colored her face was wiped away. In an absolutely deadpan way, she said 2 words.
Oh.
That's adorable. I didn't think it was adorable. Neither did Marina. That was enough to end the conversation. Derek had no comeback, and your sister simply stared blankly. Was this a mistake? Should we not have come? Does that mean you're okay? Come on, how are you really doing, Elizabeth? You didn't speak either. Come on, how are you really doing, Elizabeth? A seriously uncomfortable three-way staring contest commenced. You kept your focus locked on your sister. She did the same to you. Derek flip-flopped between Elizabeth and you. Then Elizabeth caved. She pinched the bridge of her nose and groaned dramatically. Fine, you kids win. Today was annoying. Not because I care that I only get to have 2 moms and can't celebrate Daddy Day. It's because every year everybody else is busy and I'm stuck doing nothing. Yeah, she's just mad because she doesn't get to hang out with her friends today because they have plans with their dads. Imagine. Wow. And so no, I wasn't in a sunshine and rainbows kind of mood. It didn't help that you ended up getting off that boat either. And then you called me. She whipped an accusatory finger right at your chest.
Rude.
You'd gone off to have a party with your friend out of nowhere and decided while doing that to give me a ring while I was stuck in the house like a loser. Rude. That's why I hung up. Her smirk returned, much more earnest than before. I didn't think you were gonna race across the city to come keep me company. That was kind of affectionate teasing from your only older sister. She warmed your heart. It was special and all the discomfort was worth it. This is something Marina would do though. She wants more than anything to have a relationship with this person. This is her cool sister, okay? This means the world to her. Speaking of people she looks up to and wants to be like, fucking Elizabeth, man. You could already tell today would be something to laugh about for years to come. Derek remained serious. He blinked in rapid succession, mustering up the will to continue his regretful appeal. Elizabeth, I'm really sorry for not thinking about this more. Elizabeth cut that right off. She swished her head right in front of her face. Her hand right in front of her face. Trying to physically bat away Derek's sentiment.
No.
Don't be, please. Save your energy. She settled the tips of her fingers against the center of her forehead, her other hand resting on her hip that she jutted out to the side. Like, they humanize her a lot more in Derek's moments, I'm realizing, than in your moments. In your moments, she's most... There's one really good Elizabeth moment coming up that we're gonna do, and I'm really excited to do it because it's like one of my favorite moments. But most of the time, she's just a bitch to you. And if you never had the Derek DLC, you wouldn't see these tender moments with her. It's not your job to babysit me. You're not my big brother, and I'm not the one you like. Ha ha ha! Ha! Elizabeth was as sassy as ever, and Derek's overly self-reflective maturity seemed childish when cast in that light. A dark red blush grew across Derek's cheek, but he smiled. It was a good reminder that he demanded a lot more from himself than others did. Or, you know, that she just called him out and having a crush on Marina. Because he sure does! As if for the first time, your sister appeared and appraised you and Derek, huddled together, sweaty and frumpy from the journey. Frumpy! I like that they use that word. Oh dear, where are my manners? I've got guests and haven't even offered them a drink. She shrugged one arm while sashaying over to the kitchen and opening the fridge. Not very politely, Elizabeth shouted out while sticking her head into the chilled shelves. What do you want?
Thanks.
Just water, please. Thanks. Water for me, too. I mean, you could have apple juice, orange juice, tropical juice, mix, cola, lemon lime soda, root beer, milk, soy milk. You could have all these things. I wonder if this is implying that they have all this stuff in their fridge, or at all times, or that it would just happen to, or that any of the ones you pick, they would just happen to have, and Marina would know that. I mean, that might make more sense than just assuming they have all these things. Because who keeps this many types of soda? I could see people having cola and, like, one of these two, maybe, but not all of them, unless they make root beer floats in the regular. 3 types of juice, too. These aren't little kids. Also milk and soy milk, unless, I think Liz might be a vegetarian. Anyway, water for me, too. 2 waters. She had 2 bottles of water on the counter. When her hands were free, she reached back into the fridge to sing a carton of tropical juice, as well as a glass for herself. Elizabeth poured a glass of juice for herself. One more time, Elizabeth, the demure hostess she was, shouted at you from the kitchen. She's so mindful, so demure. Come and get it! She punctuated the statement by bumping the fridge door shut with her hip. Then she walked back to the living room, taking a sip of her juice. Derek took it upon himself to pick up both your drinks. He went straight to the kitchen, grabbed the drinks, and returned to you offer yours. You accepted it from him. Thanks. It made your sister snicker over the rim of her glass. Her gaze stayed on you while she lowered herself down slowly to sit on the floor. You shared a quick look with Derek, but ultimately joined your sister on the ground. Wow, it didn't give us a choice whether we wanted to stand or sit this time. It always does that. Why, that's constantly, anytime somebody gets to the floor, it's always like, did you want to sit or did you want to remain standing? And what was your posture? And don't get me wrong, it's good that you have those kind of choices, but do we ever comment on Stage 2 house? We definitely didn't have this ottoman in Stage 1. The three of you arranged yourselves in a small circle shape, each with your little drink in hand. It almost felt like being a kid in kindergarten again. Elizabeth lifted her cup over the center of the group.
Come on.
To this auspicious occasion, cheers to us. As sarcastic as her tone was, she was having fun. The fun she was having was genuine. Cheers to us. Happy Father's Day. Bad Father's Day, you tease. You lifted your drink. Happy Father's Day. Cheers. He thrusted his own drink out in celebration before bringing it back toward his chest. He twisted off the cap of the water bottle and gulped down about half of it in one go. It's like, Marina's sassy humor comes definitely from her sister. Derek idly wiped at his mouth when Elizabeth asked a flat question. How'd you actually get here? Is Mrs. Suarez idling in her minivan out there? Derek's reply was perfectly cheery. After the long way here, the spark was finally coming back.
Nope.
We took a bus. A bus? And a shuttle. None of the buses go right into Sunset Bird, but we made it. Well, obviously, you can see that.
Okay.
Another question. Are you going to be completely grounded for this? We left a note for my mom. She'll understand. This was an emergency, or it could have been one. Huh. You're welcome. We're on a mission. You felt incredibly bashful. It's worth it no matter what happens. It's worth it no matter what happens. Elizabeth rested her eyes and took another long sip of juice. I won't tell our moms. Thanks. Thanks. I miss that. I miss Covenant's thanks. We're all partners in crime. We should go now. Would you want to hang out for a little while? Let's make Father's Day cards. She's not crafty. She's not going to do that. Would you want to hang out for a little while? How? We can't go anywhere. Derek jumped right on board with that idea. He had an answer for almost any problem. We'll play a board game. It'll be fun. We've got a little time.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Me too.
Okay.
The three of you agreed on the classic game and did one round. Soon, stacks of fake money, tiny figures, and tokens were scattered around the living room while each of you fought for financial supremacy. Yeah! Good old Monopoly! The game of you always played as kids and hated each other for it. I played this with my family a lot, too. My aunt was a shark at Monopoly. My goodness, was she a shark at Monopoly. Elizabeth shifted to lay on her stomach, and Derek sat up vigilant for anyone who tried to cheat the system. You really felt like a kid again. Of course he would be the rules lawyer. At the end of the line, you were victorious. Derek applauded your success, and Elizabeth was as sore a loser as ever. Really? We didn't get to choose how good we were at Monopoly? It was a nice time. When it was really over, Elizabeth spoke up. Alright, you've got to go. She stretched her legs and arms, spreading out wide. Being bored all day is going to be the least of your worries. Our worries if Mom's come in and you've magically appeared in the living room. Right, instead we've got to magically vanish into thin air. Her eyes narrowed, looking between you and Derek. Enjoy what's left of your little sleepover. I liked her wicked laugh there. Derek's mouth dropped over fruitlessly, then he closed it again. He didn't know what to say to that. Finally, he waved and chirped out a generic farewell. Bye, Elizabeth. Bye? See you around. Yeah, we will. We will. He waved, you winked, he gave her a hug, he held out your hand for a high five. In this case... No. Elizabeth rolled her eyes and staged annoyance. She couldn't take the smile off her face. She ultimately returned the gesture, slapping the open palm of your hand.
Goodbye.
With your mission accomplished, the two of you returned to the wide open world. Man, I can't... This is long. Returning to the parking lot was far more leisurely trip than your arrival had been. There was time before it take off again. Losing my voice here. You drifted ahead like the lazy white clouds above you. The fluffiness of them made you think of marshmallows. The pale orange 12-seater came into sight. Parked at the far edge of the lot. You and Derek got your tickets to the ride and hopped on. I'm losing my voice here. But don't think it's over yet. I'm kind of glad I divided this up. Because this is insane. few scared tourists in their sun hats and floral-patterned shorts were seated throughout the cavern. A small number of people in the space still felt cramped because of the limited room in the car. You could smell their sunscreen in the air. Slow curving motion, the subtle pulled out. You know, that just reminded me because I'm going to be going to the beach and I need sunscreen. Derek sat rigidly, silently trapping his pointer fingers against the top of his knees for the entire trip. No words were exchanged by anyone except a few rules and updates mumbled up by the driver. People were tired from their own long adventures out in the world. You could only imagine what strangers sharing the shuttle had been through while barely audible acoustic guitar tracks played on the radio. Eventually, the shuttle arrived. Each person went their separate ways except for you and Derek, who stayed one by one on our side as a pair. He navigated the station with the maps he kept tucked in his back pocket as a guide. So you must live pretty far away from Sunset Bird if it's this long of a ride. This also takes all day. You do one thing and it takes all day in this game. And finally, you sat down in the deep blue, well-worn fabric of a city bus seat for the last ride. When the bus pulled out this time, Derek wiped his brow with his wristband. You made it back to Derek City. No mortifying calls would have to be made from an overpriced bus stop payphone to beg one of your parents to come get you. Man, they still have payphones in this? It's 2016 or something like that. Derek slipped lower in his seat and stretched his legs out on the aisle. The bus wasn't even half full, so making a little extra room for himself wasn't getting in anyone's way this time. On the outside, the sun was still dipping under the horizon, giving the air relief from the sweltering heat. It all came together to make the metal tube of public transportation less suffocating, totally incomparable to the experience you'd had at the height of the afternoon. Now it was safe to relax. Okay, so that was the afternoon, so we've only been gone for an afternoon here instead of... Yeah. Okay, so this... Yeah, that's not too unreasonable. I would assume this is probably like an hour and a half bus total trip. Derek glanced over his shoulder, staring across the rows of chairs in front of you. You just barely caught the small smile on his face. Because it takes a while to play Monopoly. I'm surprised they finished the game of Monopoly that quick. That takes forever, man. That was probably a good 2-3 hours of their time playing that game of Monopoly. It was like your whole afternoon. Hey, thanks for thinking about me. I do appreciate all this, you know. I'm glad you were here. This isn't at all how I wanted things to go, but you're still my friend, Derek. It worked out, and that's good. Let's not have this kind of thing happen again, though. Thanks. I do appreciate all this, you know. Derek turned right around to face you and made a big show of swatting his hand nonchalantly, which pretty much completely precluded it from being a casual gesture. No worries, I'm just happy it worked out. There was a missing piece to complete the picture of relief, getting to be on good terms with Derek again. You couldn't hate him, even if you thought sometimes. I can't believe you took a bus and a shuttle all the way to Sunset Bird so I could see Elizabeth. No. Siblings have to look out for siblings. Hey, that's the name of the moment, if in case you've forgotten, it was 1,000,000 years ago. And he looked directly at you. Friends look out for friends. I know that I can count on you to help me out with the bros when I need it. I wonder if he says that only because I did the babysitting moment first. I wonder if this was the first moment we ever did. What it was to be like. We're a good team. Right, I'm here for you too. I can always rely on you. Thanks for holding my hand before you smiled and you shyly sat your hand. I can always rely on you.
Yeah.
I'm your guy. You rest your head against Derek's. You put your arm around Derek's shoulders. Derek leaned against your shoulders. You relaxed in the back of the seat. You looked out the window. You looked out the window. Your gaze floated along with the passing scenery that consisted of Main Street packed with other cars. Derek's eyes fluttered closed with a sweet sigh. You were settled in for the final leg of the journey, and all you had to do was wait. There was a soft vibration in the back of the bus. It slowly went up your spine and all the way down your tips of your toes. During the ride before, the sensation had frayed at your nerves. Now it was soothing. With every stop that passed, your eyelids grew heavier. If yours wasn't just the fourth one down the line, you might have fallen asleep. You and Derek were the only ones who got off at that point. The two of you hopped from the front door of the bus onto the familiar sidewalk that you always walked down and then had to go the exact same path back to every single scene transition change. Also, does the person who made this game like the letter K? This KT place, there's a big K over here on this building, too. Derek leisurely retraced the familiar path you'd gone on with him, marching step for step. It was peaceful, and with how close you'd been to dozing off, it almost felt like walking through a dream. I want to be on something like this someday, man. I love this kind of thing. Finally, you arrived at the Suarez condo after a long, eventful afternoon away. You may not have lived there, but seeing that door made you feel welcome and safe. Is it time for Derek's back? Derek clicked his key into the slot and pulled the handle forward. All traces of sleepiness that had lingered in your eyes were instantly wiped away. Derek unavoidably tripped the wire on a mini explosion.
Derek's back!
Will somebody pick up that phone because I called it? The condo wasn't nearly as empty as it was when you'd left. The whole rest of the family had arrived before you. That is clearly one of the creator's favorite lines and one of my favorite lines. I should just call one of these moments, Derek's back! Derek's back! They gathered together on the couch and bar stools, except for Nicholas, who had jumped to his feet to launch himself at his brother, his short arms circled around Derek's legs. If I take nothing away from my playthrough of this, I'm gonna take that line and thanks away from this. It was interaction that had happened dozens, maybe even hundreds of times before. This was a hallmark of their own unique sibling relationship. Derek fulfilled his part of the tradition and stroked Nicholas's hair. At the same time, he offered the rest of his family a laid-back greeting. Hey.
Good evening.
To you both. Hi.
Welcome.
There was a knowing lilt to her tone and a crook in her smile. So we're back to the whole Suarez family here again, too. This is like the whole... Welcome back to Suarez family. I like the design of these people. Just all of them. Did you have a good trip? Clutched securely between her fingers is a piece of paper. You didn't have to think too hard to guess what it was. The note you left explaining what happened. What if we didn't leave a note? I actually am kind of curious about that. I feel like Derek is way too responsible not to, right? I think it probably happens either way, even if we say not to.
What a day.
It's best you were able to spend time with your family. His parents were both perfectly contented. You had their full support for going on an adventure. That's probably the only time he says that line. Man, this guy... It's Father's Day, and he ain't spent any of it with his kids. Derek wasn't wrong. His parents weren't mad at you. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. It was good. Derek gratefully replied to his parents, all the while seeking a warm gaze at you. Agreed. Thanks for not grunting, Derek. I'm glad I get to see Elizabeth. Are you going to tell my moms about this? You nodded quietly. I'm glad I get to see Elizabeth.
Wonderful.
Nicholas simply held tight to Derek's jeans the entire time, happy he was there and totally unaware of what older people were talking about. Jorge stood in between his parents while his arms pressed to his sides. He had been listening with amusement. His thin eyebrows pinched and his lips pursed.
Now what?
Mrs. Suarez snickered cheerfully, resting her actual cheek against Mr. Suarez.
I hate to say it.
Well, I'm sorry to say, but you better turn right around and go back the way you came. It's time to bring Marina home. But don't worry, I'll drive. Oh yeah. With a wink and a grin, Derek scratched the back of his head. He chuckled right from along with his mom. You had a great time staying with the Suarez family, but they were very much looking forward to seeing your moms after being reunited with your own sibling after a humorously short time apart. And being reunited with your own sibling after a humorously short time apart. There'd be plenty more moments of fun and laughter to come when you were. For better or worse, Derek had made sure this was an occasion worth commemorating. Okay, I thought there was a whole nother scene of talking to Derek there, but that's fine. I think 3 videos for this one moment is probably going to be... that's going to be the norm, right? This is going to be super long. And this one's about as long as this one. This one's cool, though. We go to an amusement park. So we've got Boardwalk left. We've got... This is the really good Elizabeth moment. We've got dinner. We've got mall. And we've got soiree. Which I'm still on the fence about who we're going to go with. I think it might be fun to see Derek's soiree. And she gets along well with Derek. But Cove is her bestie at the end of the day. So I hope you've enjoyed this incredibly long moment and look forward to having more multiple video moments like this. We're not finishing Step 2 by the end of July. There's like 5 more days left in July as I'm recording this. It'll be almost the end of July by the time you hear me say this, though. We're not finishing this in July. And I'm already kind of late for my day because this took way longer. I knew how long this was going to take. What am I kidding? Who am I kidding? But we made it. And we'll see you next time for more Our Life Beginnings and Always.